All right, today we're going to break down a really powerful story about trust, hope, and the mechanics of a deeply personal financial scam. It's a story that shows how the very communities we count on for support can, sometimes, be turned into hunting grounds.
Wow, that one sentence, it just captures the devastating end of one woman's journey. But how did she get here? What are the steps that take someone from carefully saving every penny to complete financial and emotional ruin? Okay, let's dive in.
So, our story starts with Nadia Rahman. She's a widowed nurse, and her dream for her two daughters was simple, powerful, and she kept it in a very specific place. So, meet Nadia. You can think of her as a frontline hero, working these absolutely punishing hours, all while raising two teenage girls by herself. She's exactly the kind of careful, responsible person you'd think would never fall for a scam. Every single decision she makes has real weight to it. And this is what really gets me. Her financial plan wasn't some abstract thing sitting in a bank account. It was real. It was tangible. This old biscuit tin was a physical symbol of all her hopes, a promise she was making to her daughter's future with every single pound she managed to tuck away. So how does a future that's so carefully built get put at risk? Well, an opportunity pops up. And it doesn't come from a stranger. It comes from inside her own trusted community. And it's presented by an unbelievably charismatic person. See, the invitation comes from Saira, someone she knows from the mosque, a place built on inherent trust and shared values. It isn't framed as some risky scheme. It's called smart community investing. This is the absolute perfect way in for what's known as an affinity scam. And here she is, the architect of the whole thing, Ghazala Din. She's described as magnetic, poised, with this incredibly warm smile. She wasn't just some presenter reading from a script. She was a storyteller. She immediately connected with the audience's deepest financial fears and their biggest dreams. The pitch kicks off with a very specific number, £3,000. Now, that is a huge amount of money, a real sacrifice for someone like Nadia, but it feels just within reach. And that makes the promise that comes next all the more tempting. And then comes the hook, a 10% return per month. That's an incredible number. It's the kind of number that seems to solve every problem, to fast forward every single dream. It makes the impossible feel suddenly totally possible. And this right here, this is just a brilliant, devious technique. Ghazala uses very specific language to build trust. Halal and fully compliant aren't just buzzwords. For her community, they're powerful, powerful reassurances. And that word partners, it transforms a cold financial transaction into this special, collaborative relationship. The final step in the pitch had nothing to do with numbers on a screen. It was a masterclass in emotional manipulation. Ghazala actually takes the time to learn about Nadia's life, her family, her specific hopes. It's a conversation tailored to make Nadia feel seen, understood, and above all, safe. Okay, so that deep, personal trust is now established. The next phase of the scam, you have to provide undeniable proof that the system actually works. This is how you turn a cautious investor into a true believer. Now, what's so fascinating here is how you can literally see the social proof being built. That first payment, arriving exactly on time, is the most crucial part of the whole scam. It just erases all the doubt, and almost instantly it turns Nadia from a victim into an unwitting evangelist for the entire scheme. And you can just feel the relief and hope in that sentence, can't you? This initial success was such powerful emotional reinforcement. It wasn't just money. It felt like validation. Her risky decision was actually paying off, and the future she was saving for in that biscuit tin suddenly felt real and totally secure. But of course, this is a story of deception. And just as quickly as all that hope appeared, tiny little cracks started to appear in the foundation of Ghazala's whole enterprise. Suddenly, the language just completely shifts. Those confident, reassuring promises of partnership and safety, they get replaced by these vague, evasive excuses. Banking delays, auditors, paperwork glitches. These are the classic delaying tactics designed to placate you and keep you confused. And this is where the fallout becomes so much more than just financial. The late payments create anxiety, for sure, but the real pain, that comes from the social consequences. The friends she brought in are now at risk, and Sarah, the person who introduced her in the first place, can't even look her in the eye anymore. The The scam is now destroying the very relationships it was built on. So let's pull back from Nadia's incredibly painful story for a second so we can understand the universal tactics at play here. What happened to her wasn't random at all. It followed a predictable and, frankly, predatory playbook. By mapping Nadia's experience onto these 4 steps, you can see the scam's blueprint laid bare. Ghazala exploited the trust of the mosque community. She used Nadia's early payment to create that crucial social proof. She made her feel like a special partner. And then, when it all started to crumble, she used excuses to isolate and delay. So, when you boil it all down, this wasn't just about a slick sales pitch with impressive numbers. No, it was a strategy built on manipulating fundamental human needs. The need for an emotional connection, the comfort of community trust, and that feeling that you're part of something special, something exclusive. Ultimately, Nadia's story is just a powerful, heartbreaking reminder. While our communities are so often our greatest source of strength and support, that very same trust, when it's given without any kind of independent verification, can become our most profound vulnerability. And it leaves us with a really critical question to ask ourselves.